Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. A couple days removed from the field work at Titans University, and I talked a little bit about what Luke Farrell and George Kittle said about going to Titans University and just kind of the look of what the 49ers are going into in 2025. And so today I'm going to focus on more of what the quarterback said. I spoke to Mac Jones, who is now Brock Purdy's backup, and Tanner Mordecai, who is the third. So Tanner Mordecai was with the team in 2024 as a backup, mostly on the practice squad, but he did a lot of work as the scout team guy. So when Brandon Allen, who was also at Titans University, was not doing the scout team work, it would be Tanner Mordecai. So both of those guys kind of did that, and depending on what their skill set reflected, so depending on who they were facing, whatever that quarterback would had tendencies towards, each guy would take turns playing the opposing quarterback for the defense. So Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, et cetera, would be going against Tanner Mordecai or Brandon Allen, and they would be acting out what the opposing quarterback would be doing. In the past, interesting, Richie James, when he was on the team, he played Kyler Murray because he was kind of more of a mobile quarterback. So he'd act like he was running around in the backfield. So each guy has their kind of role as on the scout team when they're preparing in the season. So but it was fun to talk to Tanner Mordecai and Mac Jones, kind of getting a little insight on what Brock Purdy has been doing during the offseason, what the team has looked like. And for someone like Mac Jones, who's been on a couple teams now, different locker rooms, he said that, coming into the 49ers has been a welcoming experience. He said that everybody's been warm and friendly. And he said, it's been a great vibe. And he said, my job this year is just to fit in where I get in. So he's going to be taking a lot of reps. We saw it during minicamp where Brock Purdy would take 4 reps, Mac Jones would take 4, Tanner Mordecai would take 1 or 2. So the 3 of them were kind of balanced out in how the reps are taken during training camp as well. The third usually gets less. First and second get obviously the bulk of the reps on the offense. Interesting though, Mac Jones said it's been great to bond with each position group. And he said, it's funny because I asked both of them, like, why are tight ends the quarterback's favorite? And he said, there's different qualities that that tight ends all have to have. Tight ends have to be smart like a quarterback. They have to block like an offensive lineman, and they have to run routes like a receiver. As far as tight ends in Kyle Shanahan's system, obviously they have to pass protect and they have to run block. So he said, they're just the nice guys. They know everything. They're knowledgeable. They have to do everything on the field. So they end up just being great guys. He said George was one of the first guys to reach out with him. Max said, I've always watched him. He's, just a real person. He's George, and he's not going to change. As far as what he believes the 49ers are, he says it's a bunch of winners. And he said, Brock, like I've said before, a lot of other quarterbacks learn from him and how he prepares. And Brock and Mac have been friends for a while. They both work out in Jacksonville during the off season, and they go to the same quarterbacks coach. And he said, Brock is just meticulous. He's a type A personality. He's super consistent, and he's not satisfied, never satisfied. Hamilton reference popping in my head for those of you who like musicals or have seen Hamilton. But he said, now that he's the $252 million guy, he's the same guy. And, he's played golf, he's learned from him, and now he's really excited to be in the same quarterbacks room with him. As far as getting to know Kyle Shanahan, he said, it's been really cool to be in the same room as Kyle Shanahan, watching him break down film. Just like I've said, for all the veterans that have been in the 49ers locker room or that have come to the 49ers after being with other teams, it's really eye-opening the way Kyle Shanahan breaks down plays, not just offense. He breaks down special teams and he breaks down defense. And, Mac Jones is a smart guy and he's known a lot. And, I think anybody that's a vet that comes in and learns from Kyle Shanahan has their eyes open and they see a lot more things. And that's the same thing with Mac Jones as well. He said the vibes have been really good. And he said part of that is because attendance has been really high. The 49ers weren't going through contract holdouts or any drama this year. So with everybody being at the facility, it just creates a better environment. So Mac Jones said that it's been great. And his message to the young guys on the team has been, hey, you are playing and practicing with future Hall of Famers. Take advantage of their knowledge. And he hopes they really take it to heart. He really hopes that the young guys on this team really take a look at the guys who are on the team that are successful, and he hopes that they learn a lot from them. And that's what he's planning on doing, learning from Kyle Shanahan and learning from Brock Purdy. Um, Tanner Mordecai, has not had a ton of reps, but he's looking forward to get more of them. You know, he says he looks up to George and everybody else, the Hall of Famers that are on the roster, and he wants to emulate them. He says George Kittle does everything the right way, from recovery to just being a great teammate to being outgoing. And Tanner just said, hey, that's what I want to be. George is a great role model. And he said it's been, great working with him, and was excited to get involved at Titans University for the first time. This is both Mac Jones and Tanner Mordecai. First time they've both been at Titans University. So they got to hang out with everybody, go to the concert, etc., do the field work. They've got to have quarterbacks. Will Levis was there, CJ Beathard, Brandon Allen. So a lot of familiar faces from the 49ers. But asking Tanner, who was with Brock in the quarterback's room from 2024 and now, he says he's the salt of the earth. He's the same guy that he's been since he met him, and has just been really excited to spend time with him and learn from him. Interestingly, he said that during the offseason, there's been a ton of off the field events. So not only did 49ers players during spring ball, they golfed, they went to movies together, they had a skeet shooting event, they did a Down syndrome football camp. So a lot of different things off the field. And I think with everybody in the building, guys are more willing to participate in that stuff. So there really is a different bond this year, I think, with players. A lot of those new guys coming in, and I think the vets have been very open to a lot of the young players and the new guys coming in, getting acclimated and opening it up. Because last year, from 23 to 24, most of the roster stayed the same. And so while it could be, every situation is different, a lot of times when it's a whole new group coming into the roster, there's a whole turnover in mentality. And I think for the 49ers, it's a mentality shift, not a turnover, but a shift kind of back to that we're young, we're scrappy, we're, excited to be here. I think that was kind of lost over the last few years, because you look at the last 3 years, and excluding the 2024, it was 3 out of 4 seasons where they went deep into the playoffs, NFC Championship games, Super Bowl appearance, and very little time off to recover. If you saw George Kittle's episode of Bussin' with the Boys, he talked about how he feels better than he's felt since 2020. And that offseason, that was the last time they didn't make the playoffs. So for him to say that he feels great the last couple of years has been challenging, because he's played deep into the postseason and had, all guys get nicked up. So for him to say he feels great heading into this offseason and then into training camp, I think that says a lot of good things. I think that's great news for 49ers, for 49ers fans everywhere. I think it's all good. So I think looking at where the 49ers stand, I think this offseason and the extra time off really sets them up for success. They've got, the last place schedule. The things that are going to be important as they get into training camp is everybody staying healthy, everybody reporting, which I think they will. You look at last year compared to this year, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Brock Purdy contracts all done. You've got a couple guys coming back. I saw Malik Mustafa's video where he's running around on his repaired ACL. I haven't seen any workout videos of Brandon Ayuk yet, but I'm sure he is. He was walking around without a limp, no impediments at all. Looked like both legs were moving equally when he was at minicamp. Some of the guys, obviously, that will need to make a recovery. Alfred Collins is somebody that we definitely want to see trending in the right direction during training camp. We'll see no workouts or any appearances of him doing any kind of work at all yet. But, 49ers say he should be ready for training camp. Guys like Ricky Pearsall, who were held out, Marquise Siegel, kind of some young guys who were dealing with some injuries coming in the 49ers, if they can stay healthy and get the reps in training camp, I think the 49ers will have great momentum going into 2025. So all of these interviews, I did do interviews on camera with Mac Jones, Tanner Mordecai, George Kittle, of course, and Luke Farrell. These are all going to be on 49ers Talk. So tune into 49ers Talk. We're going to drop the next episode on Monday, and we'll have the interviews with George Kittle and Luke Farrell on there first. So you'll get those. Those are exclusive to NBC Sports Bay Area. And then after we have them on 49ers Talk, I'll also post them on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to post more videos of drills from TEU on Instagram and YouTube here. So stay tuned. And as always, I'll bring you as much news as I have here on this YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching, and share with your friends. Really appreciate your taking your time to hang out here with me.